Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of Be Well with Dr. Stockwell. I am Diana Klein, the Chief Executive Officer of Stockwell Medical and Dr. Stockwell's Prenatal Vitamin, and I am once again joined here by our amazing co-founder and president, Dr. Erica Stockwell. And today she is going to talk to us about what her mentality was and what her thought process was behind choosing the ingredients that she chose, why she thinks they're pivotal and why she thinks they're important. And she's also going to talk about some of those special characteristics of those ingredients, such as dissolvability, taste, and kind of the why behind the formula. So without further ado, here is Dr. Erica Stockwell.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. If we're not able to listen to our first podcast, I'll just recap real quick as far as the idea of the vitamin. It really came when I was pregnant with my first and also a resident OB GYN and going through my training and experienced horrible morning sickness and found out how truly hard it is to fully function like a normal human being when you feel so ill all the time. And so I did my own exploration of prenatal vitamins that were on the market and tried a bunch of different ones. Ultimately, the big horse pill size prenatal vitamin, that's your typical prenatal vitamin, made my nausea much worse. And as an OBGYN in training at the time, I knew how important it was to gain certain nutrients, especially in that early time in pregnancy. And so started to look at different vitamins on the market. Ultimately, I went at the time to a gummy prenatal vitamin, which we talked about in the last segment, actually is missing quite a few of the important ingredients such as iron and a lot of times that DHA, and is just coated in sugar in order to make it palatable, which, we don't recommend a whole lot of sugar, especially if you're prone or at risk of gestational diabetes in pregnancy. And so that's where the idea came up of a powdered prenatal vitamin that you could pour into your drink, and just like a Crystal Light package or an emergency, something that you could easily pour into your drink and drink your prenatal vitamins. So that's where the idea of Dr. Stockwell's came into play. Our vitamin is a powdered prenatal vitamin that comes in 1 sachet per day. A box comes with 28 sachets or 4 weeks worth of prenatal vitamins. And a lot of the other prenatal vitamins on the market, a lot of people don't realize this, a lot of them you actually have to take more than one prenatal vitamin per day in order to get all of your ingredients. So you may have to take, anywhere between 1 all the way up to 6 vitamins per day to get the proper nutrients. So our sachet contains 100% your daily value of recommended vitamins in 1 sachet. I also wanted so that the powder idea was something that would be easier on the stomach. It wouldn't sit there in the stomach making you nauseous. It would pass through much faster and easier. And you could take it with water or with some type of fluid in order to also gain that hydration, which is so important in pregnancy. While you're nauseous, you are probably not going to be drinking as much water as you should be. We recommend that pregnant women really increase their water intake by about 1.5 times of what they drink prior to pregnancy. And so having your powdered prenatal vitamin helps not only with passage through and preventing sitting in your stomach and creating that nausea, but also promotes you to drink daily water intake as well. I also wanted to add other components that have been shown and known to help with preventing or easing or even treating nausea. There is a category A approved medication on the market called Diclegis, which is for preventing, treating, and easing nausea. And this medication basically contains a large amount of vitamin B6. It's the only category A approved medication on the market, which means it's completely safe to take in the proper amounts in pregnancy.
And category A, is that FDA or is that?
Yep.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, vitamin B6, and I have read the studies and I have been recommending this to patients for years as far as adding vitamin B6 to their vitamin regimen if they experience a lot of nausea. I said, well, we can add this to our vitamin and have it all in one package and ready to go for patients so they don't have to be adding additional vitamin B6 to their prenatal vitamins. So I took the same amount of vitamin B6 that is in deep dicletus and added it to our prenatal vitamin. And then I also added other components that for years we've all known have helped with nausea, such as ginger root extract. This is why when you have a stomach ache, your mom or your grandma tell you to drink a little bit of ginger ale. It's because the ginger is known to help prevent, ease, and treat nausea as well. In addition to that, I wanted a little bit of fizziness or effervescence to the powdered formulation. And so that's where kind of all these revisions came from initially in the product development. We have revised the product really 9 times. And the majority of that was to get that good fizziness. I wanted just a slight effervescence, not too fizzy. And our product has that if you mix it in water. I also wanted to contain all of the ingredients that are recommended by physicians in pregnancy, such as iron and DHA and folic acid, and our product contains all of those as well. Folic acid is very important, especially at the start of pregnancy or even before you're trying to conceive, to help with baby's spinal cord or neural tube development. And a lot of American diets, unfortunately, are not the best. And we're actually seeing an increase of spina bifida because of poor diets, especially in our younger patients. The folic acid is especially important to take actually even pre-conception. And we as OBGYNs, we recommend all women of reproductive age, whether they're trying for pregnancy or not, to be on a prenatal vitamin because 50% of pregnancies are unintended. And so, really just to be on a prenatal vitamin while you're in that reproductive age category is generally what our American College of OBGYN recommends. The ideal time really to start a prenatal vitamin is about 3 months before you're looking to start to conceive, mostly for that folic acid so you can build that level up, but also just get your proper nutrients. Some of the other ingredients that I felt as an OBGYN that was really important to contain in the vitamin is iron. So a lot of women experience anemia. In fact, all women experience some sort of physiologic anemia with pregnancy, mostly because our blood volume increases by 50% in pregnancy and our red blood cells don't quite increase to that 50%. So we all experience a little bit of a physiologic anemia, which is basically a lower hemoglobin. And some women experience anemia to a greater degree than other women, especially if you're already starting a little bit low, which women tend to run lower than men. If you're already starting a little bit low, your hemoglobin may drop to a point where it could actually be a little bit dangerous to a pregnant woman and her child. And so I wanted to make sure that we had daily recommended value of iron in the prenatal vitamin too. Now, if you are one of those women who experience anemia to a higher degree, you may still have to supplement additional iron in addition to what is in a typical prenatal vitamin and also in addition to what is in our prenatal vitamin. But for the standard pregnant woman, our prenatal vitamin has the required and recommended amount of iron in it. Some of the other ingredients that we contain in the vitamin is DHA. So DHA is really good for babies' neural and eye development and really comes into play kind of starting in later trimesters. And a lot of DHA is synthesized from fish oils. And I wanted to make sure that we had a product that applied to everybody, so a vegan product. And so our DHA actually comes from algae and it has the same properties as the DHA as far as the recommendations for DHA for fetal neural and eye development. So our product it's powdered, it's fizzy or effervescent. It contains all of the recommended nutrients for prenatal vitamins such as folic acid and iron and DHA, as well as your other typical vitamins as well. It is vegan, it is gluten-free, it is non-GMO, and it is sugar-free. And so I really do feel like it is one of the best vitamins out there in the market. And in fact, I still take this daily, even though I am not pregnant and have no plans to become pregnant at this point. And the other thing I should mention too is actually rabbi certified kosher as well. So I really, wanted to create a vitamin that anybody and everybody could take. And you don't have to be pregnant to take it, although it is specifically formulated for those women who are experiencing nausea. And you don't have to be pregnant to take it. In fact, my mom takes this vitamin. She's one of my biggest return customers. She loves it because she says it's really helped with her hair and her nail growth. It does contain biotin in it as well. And because it has that boost of vitamin B, it's actually really good for energy too.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah. Erica, tell us a little more, because I know when we were in the formulation phase of this, I was fascinated by the whole fact, because I am vegan. Occasionally I'll splurge on a meat product or a dairy product, but for the most part I try to eat vegan. Yeah. And I was fascinated by the fact, the algal or the algae oil. Yeah. So it's based from algae. Mm-hmm. Our DHA is sourced from algae, I should say. Yes. And it's in algal oil components. So like on our nutritional supplements, it says algal oil. And then another thing I know that we talked about was DHA, and what most people, and what I didn't realize, DHA in and of itself as a compound, no matter where it's sourced, whether it's from fish or whether it's from algae, still has that, what we would call fishy taste. Yes. So how did you, in your formulation, how did you mask that taste? Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Because even though I want to make sure our listeners understand, it is vegan, it is algae-based, but it's still, if we had if you were to taste the raw component, it would have what tastes very fishy, what you would describe as a fishy taste. Yes. Even though it's not from fish, it's from algae. Yes. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. That's a great question, actually. So our DHA is an encapsulated DHA, and it's true. Our early formulations, as you can recall, they did taste a little fishy, and that was something that we worked on with the manufacturers. We use encapsulated DHA, which means that it has to go through the unencapsulation process before you would actually taste the contents. And so with that, because it's encapsulated, it dissolves later on in the GI tracts and not necessarily in the stomach, which means you don't get those fishy, burpy aftertaste. Now, if you would put the powder in your drink and you would let your drink sit before you consume it, that encapsulation will break down. And then when you drink your drink later on, it's going to be not only warm, but it's also going to have that little bit of a fishy taste because of that encapsulation breaking down. So we recommend putting the full sachet into your drink and then drinking it all in one sitting rather than letting it sit and coming back to it. So that's a great question. Some of the other things too, we wanted to incorporate all of those vitamin components that are so important, including not only water soluble, but the fat soluble vitamins as well. So vitamin D, E, K, and A are all fat soluble vitamins and do not dissolve in water. Same thing with iron, it doesn't dissolve very well in water. So our vitamin is it's a suspension. So a lot of the vitamins do dissolve in the water, and then the other vitamins are suspended. So when you drink, if you mix it in water, when you drink the product, you will see suspended material within the water. And that is because just of the nature of the vitamins that we wanted to incorporate in the iron, it does not 100% clearly dissolve, but it is very fine particles. So when you drink it, it's similar to for example, drinking a juice product that has, some particles in it, much smaller than like pulp of an orange juice. Yep, definitely. Definitely. So I know another reason why you like the powder formulation is not only is it easy for a nauseated woman to get down because it is mixable in any liquid. Mm-hmm. I know when we were in the development phase, you said too that you can pretty much mix it in yogurt. You can mix it in oatmeal. You can mix it in smoothies, decaffeinated tea, of course, like an herbal tea. So hot beverages, cold beverages. It doesn't break down. If you were to mix it in a warm beverage, no effect on the nutritional components. You could still mix it in a warm beverage. Yeah, I wouldn't, boil it per se, but you could definitely mix it in your typical warm beverage. Yeah. Gotcha. And then you made a good point with the oatmeal, and same thing. I wouldn't put it in, something that you're going to bake, but you can definitely put it in your oatmeal. You can put it in your yogurt. You can sprinkle on the top of your pancakes after you bake them and as they're eating them. So yeah, it's very versatile and just a really easy way to get your daily required vitamins. Awesome. Awesome. I know when was pregnant with my second son, Caleb, I craved citrus, like bitter, sour citrus, like not your sweet lemonade, but as sour as you could get. And I would go to Costco and get the big bottles of lemon juice and literally cut the lemon juice with water. And then I would mix my Dr. Stockwell's in that.
Funny. Yeah.
And that worked like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else in my household would get a hold of my big lemonade jug and think it was sweet lemonade, and they would take a swig and they were like, oh my goodness, how do you take this? This is insane. Well, a baby wants sour, I guess. We'll see. And he just tried his first Sour Patch Kid from Halloween candy the other day, and it did not faze him. So I'm like, well, maybe perhaps that's why. So that was one of my favorite ways. I mixed it in smoothies too. I would make fruit smoothies, and I would put it in my super sour lemon water that Caleb craved, apparently. What is your favorite way? And what would you recommend to our listeners as far as if you could, the A+ number one, what's your favorite way to take it?
Well, my favorite way to take it is actually with a splash of cranberry juice and a little bit of ginger ale mixed in with it. I sip it and pretend when I was pregnant, pretend it was my little cocktail.
Your little mocktail.
My little mocktail, yes. But that's my favorite way to take it. But it's really good in a breakfast smoothie. I'm a big fan of mixing some fresh fruits and maybe some kale, some vegetables in there in the morning, and then pouring my Dr. Stockwell's prenatal vitamin in the mix, and then off I go. It's also, it has the convenience of, since it's in a sachet, is you don't want to take it in the morning, say you are having some morning sickness and not really wanting to take a whole lot in the morning. You could put it in your purse and take it with you, or in your diaper bag and take it with you and take it later on in the day. So,
well, let's talk about that too. That's a good point, because they call it morning sickness, and that's kind of an old wives, not so much old wives' tale, but maybe an old wives' title, if you will. It's not morning sickness. It doesn't always happen in the morning. It happens throughout the day. Yeah. So can you kind of talk about just a little bit medically why that happens and why a sachet is good, like you just said, throughout the day, not just in the morning?
Yeah, it's kind of the old adage that this is just morning sickness, but as any woman knows who has ever experienced this, it's definitely not just in the morning. The reason why it was dubbed morning sickness is because it does tend to affect women worse when they have an empty stomach. So one of the first things I recommend to patients is eating very small, bland meals throughout the day. And it's not typically your breakfast, lunch, dinner anymore when you're pregnant and you're experiencing nausea. It's really continuous small amounts of healthy food throughout the day, so that your stomach's never really sitting there empty, or that you're consuming a large meal that goes through the dumping through your stomach into your intestine and causing nausea.
So in theory, with those small meals, you could, although we do recommend if you mix the sachet in some fluid type substance, if you do that, you drink it all at once so it doesn't break down. But in theory, you could kind of take that whole sachet, put a little bit in one small meal or a little bit in one cup of tea, and then take a little bit of the sachet later on throughout the day. So maybe sprinkle it on those little 4 meals a day. So as long as you get the full sachet in for one day, then that covers all your needs.
Yeah, you're
for
right
one
on
day.
for that.
Okay. Awesome. So you can take it all at once, or you can split it up. As long as you get it within 24 hours, and that's what you and baby need.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would recommend.
Very cool.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the lemon. That's actually one of the other ways that you can help to reduce nausea. Lemon and citrus are some of the ways that you can help prevent nausea. Ginger, like I said, has been commonly used in the past. Just drinking a lot of water and preventing dehydration, getting enough sleep. I mean, these are all ways to help prevent and ease nausea. There are acupressure bands. I recommend these bands that you can wear on your wrist called C-bands. They're actually made for motion sickness, but that constant acupressure right on the wrist can help to treat and prevent nausea as well. So yeah, there's a lot of other really good tricks out there for helping to treat and prevent and ease nausea. You could go to our website, www.doctorstockwell.com, for other tips and tricks regarding preventing and easing nausea.
Excellent. And we also have on our social media channels, Instagram and Facebook, we also post different tips and tricks for nausea. And I kind of just had a good idea. We should probably post some recipes for some of our favorite ways to enjoy our Dr. Stockwell.
That is a great idea.
So coming soon, stay tuned if you want some ideas to help enjoy your Dr. Stockwell's prenatal vitamin. We'll get those up and running on our website and our social media channels. But as Dr. Stockwell said, that was our website, drstockwell.com. And then we also follow us on Instagram and Facebook Facebook and Twitter as well for tips and tricks and more information on our products to come, as well as our current product, our prenatal vitamin, at Dr. Stockwell's is our handle. So all one word, no spaces, no dashes, Dr. DOCTOR spelled out, and Stockwell. STOCKWELLS, Dr. Stockwell's. That's our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter handles. So thank you, Dr. Stockwell.
Thank you.
And thank you to you all for tuning in for another episode of Be Well with Dr. Stockwell. Coming up next, we're going to have several amazing guest speakers on, other experts in the field as well, in the OB GYN field and medical field, and also some of our nonprofit partners that have really amazing testimonials and things to say about our product and how it's helped their clients here in the Las Vegas area. So stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for tuning in today, and we will speak to you guys later. Have a great day.